How long are you going to ignore what they did to you? How long will you keep pretending it didn't hurt when deep inside, it changed something in you forever? Be honest, you trusted them, didn't you? You believed every word. You stood beside them when nobody else did. You gave them loyalty without conditions, without limits, without hesitation. And what did you get in return? Silence, distance, and betrayal. The kind of betrayal you never saw coming. Because the truth is, the people who hurt you the most don't look like enemies. They don't come with warnings. They don't announce their intentions. They look like your own people. They sound like they care. They act like they're with you, until one day they're not. And you remember that moment, don't you? That exact moment when everything started to feel different. Something was off, but you couldn't explain it. Maybe it was the way they stopped showing up for you. Maybe it was how their energy changed. Maybe it was the small things, the delayed replies, the fake smiles, the lack of support when you needed it most. At first you ignored it. You told yourself, maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe they're just busy. Maybe it's nothing. But deep down you knew, you felt it, because energy doesn't lie. And slowly the truth started revealing itself. Not all at once, not in one big moment, but piece by piece, like cracks forming in glass. Invisible at first, but spreading quietly. Until one day, everything shattered. You found out what they were saying behind your back. You realized they didn't believe in you. You saw how they smiled in your face and doubted you in private. And that realization, it hits differently. It's not just pain, it's confusion, it's anger, it's disbelief. Because you keep asking yourself why. Why would they do this to me? What did I do to deserve this? And the hardest question of all, was I not enough? But listen carefully, their betrayal was never about your worth. It was about their character. Weak people betray when they feel threatened. Insecure people doubt when they see potential. Fake people pretend until pretending becomes too hard. And what they did, it didn't define you, but it revealed them. Still, that doesn't mean it didn't hurt, because it did, more than you expected, more than you were ready for, because these weren't strangers. These were people you trusted, people you defended, people you supported when they had nothing. And somehow, they became the ones who turned against you. And that's the part that breaks something inside you. Not just trust in them, but trust in people. You start thinking differently. You start questioning everything, every word, every action, every intention. You replay conversations in your head. You go back to moments, trying to find signs you missed. You analyze everything, hoping to make sense of it. But the truth is, you didn't miss anything. You just chose to see the good in them. Because that's who you are. You're the kind of person who believes, who supports, who stays real even when it's hard. And in a world full of fake people, that kind of heart is rare. But here's what no one tells you. Having a good heart will get you hurt if you don't protect it. And this moment, this pain, this betrayal, this is where everything starts to change. Because now you see clearly, no more illusions. No more blind trust. No more ignoring red flags. You start noticing things you never noticed before. The way people act when you're winning. The way they react when you're struggling. The way they speak about others, because that's how they'll speak about you too. And slowly, you stop blaming yourself. You stop asking, why me? And you start realizing something powerful. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone deserves your loyalty. Not everyone deserves your energy. Just because you were real doesn't mean they were. And that realization, it changes everything. Because now you understand you didn't lose them, they lost you. And maybe it doesn't feel like that yet. Maybe right now it still hurts. Maybe there are moments when you feel that pain again, moments when you remember everything and it hits you all over again. That's normal because healing isn't instant. It takes time. But something inside you is different now. You're not as naive as before. not as blind, not as easy to fool. That version of you, the one who trusted without limits, who ignored warning signs, who gave everything without thinking twice, that version is gone, and in its place, someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who understands people on a deeper level. Because pain teaches what comfort never could. It forces you to grow. It forces you to see reality. It forces you to become someone you were never forced to be before. And sometimes that's exactly what you needed. Because if they never betrayed you, you would still be the same person. Still trusting the wrong people. Still giving your energy to those who don't deserve it. Still living in an illusion. So what felt like betrayal was actually a wake-up call. A painful one, but a necessary one. Because now you're awake. You see things for what they are, and that changes how you move, how you trust, how you live. So now the question is, what are you going to do with this pain? Are you going to let it break you? Or are you going to let it build you? Because this moment right here, this feeling, this turning point, this is where your next version begins. And they don't even realize it yet. But the person they betrayed is not the person they're going to see next. They thought they hurt you. They thought they broke you. But what they really did was create someone they will never be able to compete with. So now you've seen the truth. You've felt the pain. You've gone through the silence. You've experienced what betrayal really does to a person. But this is the moment where everything changes, because after the pain comes a decision. You can stay broken, or you can rebuild yourself into something stronger than ever before. Most people never make it past this point. They stay stuck in the past. They keep talking about what happened. They keep replaying the betrayal like a loop in their mind. They let it define them. But you're different. Because deep down, something inside you refuses to stay weak. Something inside you says, this is not how my story ends. And that's where your transformation begins. Not when life gets easy, but when you decide to rise despite everything you've been through. At first, it's not loud. There's no big announcement. No one claps for you. No one even notices. It's just you and your thoughts. Late nights where you sit alone, thinking about everything. Moments where you feel like giving up, but you don't. Days where you're tired, but you still push forward, and slowly you start changing. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't understand you. You stop chasing validation from people who never supported you. You stop seeking approval from those who secretly wanted you to fail. Instead, you start focusing on yourself, your mindset, your goals, your discipline. You begin to realize something powerful. The same energy you were giving to others, you can give to yourself. And when you do that, everything shifts. You become more focused, more controlled, more aware. You start moving differently. You don't talk as much. You don't share everything. You don't trust easily anymore. Not because you're broken, but because you've learned. Because now you understand. Not everyone deserves to know your plans. Not everyone deserves to be close to you. Not everyone deserves access to your life. And that doesn't make you cold. It makes you smart. It makes you strong. It makes you dangerous in a way they never expected. Because now you're no longer reacting emotionally. You're thinking strategically, while they're still stuck in gossip. You're building in silence. While they're watching others, you're working on yourself. While they're doubting you, you're improving every single day. And here's the part they don't see. This transformation is happening quietly. No noise, no attention, no validation, just progress. You wake up earlier. You start taking your goals seriously. You push yourself even when you don't feel like it, because now it's not about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. You start respecting your own time. You start protecting your own energy. You start setting boundaries you never had before. And at first, it feels uncomfortable, because you're not used to saying no. You're not used to putting yourself first. You're not used to walking away from people who don't value you. But every time you do it, you become stronger. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you level up. Every time you stay focused instead of distracted, you grow. And slowly the pain that once controlled you becomes fuel. Fuel to work harder. Fuel to stay consistent. Fuel to become better than who you were yesterday. You stop seeing yourself as a victim, and you start seeing yourself as someone who survived and is now evolving. Because let's be honest, what you went through could have broken you. It could have destroyed your confidence. It could have made you quit. It could have turned you into someone bitter and negative. But it didn't. Instead, it built something inside you. Something stronger, something sharper, something unshakable. And now, you're no longer the person who gets easily hurt. You're the person who observes, who learns, who moves with purpose. You've developed a mindset that most people never reach. You understand people better now. You see through fake behavior. You recognize intentions before they're spoken. And that awareness, that's power. Because now, nobody can play you the same way again. Nobody can manipulate you like before. Nobody can break you the same way. And the most powerful part of all this, you didn't need revenge. You didn't need to argue. You didn't need to prove anything. You just needed to evolve. Because growth is the loudest response to betrayal. And now you're becoming someone they can't ignore. Someone they didn't expect. Someone they underestimated. But this is only the beginning. Because what comes next is where everything comes full circle. Where they start to see what they lost. Where they start to feel the consequences of what they did. And by the time they realize it, you'll already be far ahead, stronger, focused, unstoppable, and completely out of their reach. And now everything starts coming full circle in a way you did not expect, and in a way they never prepared for. Because when you walked away, when you chose silence, when you stopped explaining yourself, they thought that was your weakness. They thought you gave up. They thought you could not handle it. They thought you were finished. But what they did not understand was this. You were not losing. You were rebuilding. Quietly, patiently, painfully. You were putting yourself back together piece by piece in a way that made you stronger than you had ever been before. And the most powerful part, they did not even notice it happening, because real growth does not make noise. Real transformation does not announce itself. It happens in silence, in discipline, in those moments when nobody is watching. And while you were going through that process, they stayed exactly where they were. Same mindset, same habits, same way of thinking. They kept doing what they always did, talking, doubting, underestimating, judging others, because that was all they knew. They did not grow. They did not reflect. They did not change. And that is why when the results started showing, it hit them harder than anything else ever could. Because one day, without warning, they looked at you, and they did not recognize you anymore. Not physically, but mentally, energetically, emotionally. You were not reacting the same way. You were not responding the same way. You were not available the same way. And that confused them, because they were expecting the old version of you, the version that would chase them, the version that would explain everything, the version that would try to fix what they broke. But instead, they got silence, they got distance, they got a version of you that no longer needed them, and that is when it started to hit them. Slowly at first, then all at once, they started noticing the changes, the way you carry yourself now, the way you speak less but say more, the way you do not react emotionally anymore, the way you move with purpose instead of impulse, and most importantly, the way you do not look back. That is what hurts them the most. Not your success, not your growth, not your discipline, but your detachment. Because for the first time, they realize they no longer have access to you. And access is something they took for granted. They thought you would always be there, always available, always forgiving, always understanding. But now they see the reality. That version of you is gone, and it is never coming back. And that realization creates something inside them that they cannot ignore. Regret, real. Deep regret, the kind that does not go away quickly, the kind that keeps coming back in quiet moments. The kind that shows up when they see you doing better without them. Because now they start connecting everything. They remember how you treated them. They remember how loyal you were. They remember how you stood by them when nobody else did. And then they remember what they did in return. And it does not sit right with them anymore, because now they see your value. But the problem is they see it too late, because timing matters, and they miss theirs. They had the chance to keep you in their life. They had the chance to respect you, to appreciate you, to support you, but they did not. They chose differently, and now they have to live with that choice. Because life does not rewind, and people do not stay the same forever. Especially not you. You changed, not because you wanted revenge, not because you wanted to prove something, but because you had to. Because pain forced you to grow, because betrayal forced you to evolve. Because losing people forced you to find yourself. And once you found yourself, everything else became irrelevant. Now you do not chase. Now you do not beg. Now you do not try to convince people of your worth, because you know it. And when you know your worth, you move differently. You think differently. You live differently. And that difference, that is what separates you now. While they are still looking for validation, you are building your future. While they are still talking about others, you are working on yourself. While they are still stuck in the past, you are creating something new, and this is where the real shift happens, because now they are watching you. Not openly, not proudly, but quietly, from a distance. Trying to understand how you became this person. Trying to figure out when everything changed. Trying to process how the person they underestimated became someone they cannot ignore. And the truth is, they will never fully understand it. Because they did not go through what you went through. They did not feel your pain. They did not experience your growth. They did not fight your internal battles. They only see the result. They do not see the process. They do not see the nights you struggled, the moments you doubted yourself, the times you felt alone, the discipline it took to keep going when nothing made sense. They do not see any of that. They just see who you are now, and it does not match the version they had of you in their mind. And that is what creates the disconnect. Because people who underestimate you create a limited version of you in their mind. And when you outgrow that version, they cannot process it. They cannot accept it. Because it forces them to confront something uncomfortable, that they were wrong about you. And for some people, that is very hard to admit. So instead of admitting it, they watch. They observe. They think. They regret. And slowly that regret turns into realization. A realization that they lost someone real, someone loyal, someone genuine, someone who would have stayed. But they did not value it when they had it. And now they are paying the price. Not because you made them pay, but because life has a way of balancing everything. The same energy they gave comes back. The same betrayal comes back. The same pain comes back. Maybe through different people, maybe in different situations, but it always comes back. And when it does, that is when they understand. That is when they feel it. That is when they realize what they did to you. But by that time, you're gone. Not physically, but emotionally, mentally, energetically. You are no longer connected to that version of your life. You have moved forward. You have built something new, something stronger, something real. And now you are at a level where their presence does not add value anymore. Their words do not affect you. Their actions do not disturb you. Their opinions do not matter. And that is real power, because real power is not revenge. It is not anger. It is not proving someone wrong. Real power is becoming so strong, so focused, so independent, that nothing they did has control over you anymore. And that is who you are now. Unbothered, unstoppable, unreachable. Not because you are trying to be, but because you have grown into it. And once you reach that level, there is no going back. because now you understand everything. You understand people, you understand energy, you understand yourself. And that understanding, that is what protects you. That is what guides you. That is what keeps you moving forward. So let them watch. Let them regret. Let them realize, because none of it changes where you're going. You're not stopping. You're not slowing down. You're not looking back. Because the person they betrayed is not the person you are anymore. And the person you have become, they will never be able to reach. Because while they were busy doubting you, you were becoming someone they can never compete with. And that is the real price they are paying. They doubted you now. Prove them wrong. This is Next Motivational Mind. If this message hit you, do not forget to subscribe and keep growing with us. Thank you.